If you found this video, there's a message here for you today. Welcome in, beautiful soul. This is Dahlia with Spiritual Society, and today we're going to find out what changes are manifesting in your life at this time. What do you need to know most now? Remember, this is a general group reading, so you don't have to accept everything I say. Just take what works for you and leave the rest for someone else. Let's get an overall feel of the energy around you now. What do you need to know most at this time? We have grief and intuition. The grief card says tears are what happen when the ice in the heart melts. And intuition says each person's road to the inner master is extraordinary and personal. How liberating to listen inside and sense moment to moment what is needed. So these two cards highlight the major themes that are occurring in your life right now. Your intuition, your inner master, your higher self is guiding you through important life changes that are creating an energy of catharsis and healing within you. So the tears that may be flowing at this time are the release of unmet emotions, unresolved energies within you. So if you feel like you're grieving, if you feel like you're in a winter or hibernation period where it doesn't feel like you are progressing, you actually are. So keep that in mind as we move through this reading today. So let's get more information about the overall energy around you at this time. What do you need to know most about the energy surrounding you now? Okay, we have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, I can feel this as those tears that have previously been crystallized fears or limitations or anxieties of the mind are currently being reframed. And in your challenging of your own limiting beliefs, in you consciously challenging your own fears and your own frustrations because you feel like there's a next step, there's progress waiting just around the corner for you. So that grief is almost you grieving the sense of self that used to tolerate or put up with the things that your fears would coerce you to do. So for instance, the fear of rejection or the fear of abandonment may push you to be involved in relationships that are toxic or unhealthy because at least you have someone there that's validating your need for love or approval. So the grief that you may be experiencing now is understanding that you tolerated less than you deserve for far too long. And this Eight of Swords is all of the constraints, the locks on your mind that previously prevented you from moving forward. But you're ready to move forward, but you're still feeling the angst and grieving that self, that identity that previously accepted what the new version of you is no longer willing to tolerate because your intuition is guiding you to more self-awareness and therefore self-mastery. So you had some other cards that came out and they're all in reverse right now. So let me take a look. We have the Nine of Cups, the Sun, the Star, and the Three of Cups in reverse. So some of you are actually grieving community, the loss of friends, family, or even romantic partners that no longer feel in alignment with you. The Nine, again, all these cards were in reverse. So the Nine of Cups is usually about feeling a sense of wish fulfillment. And that Star is also the wish that you tie your heart onto after dark periods. So, and also the Sun, all of these cards and energies in reverse are saying that you're no longer optimistic. You're no longer hopeful or tolerant of that which just isn't working anymore. And so that's what you're grieving now, again, is that identity of that part of you that would have previously tolerated or forgiven or swept issues under the rug just to move forward in certain relationships, whether that's personal, professional, romantic, platonic, etc. That aspect of you that tolerated way too much just to have someone around, you're grieving that and moving through that in a way that would allow you to have more healthy, fulfilling, and aligned relationships in your life. All right, beautiful soul. So let's dive deeper into this area and see what possible changes you might have been resisting previously that you are more ready to lean into now. What changes were you previously resisting? We have the card companionship. Wow. Giving someone your complete presence is an astonishing gift. But how can you give someone your complete presence if you're not being your full, authentic self? Most relationships, this might be a unpopular opinion, most relationships, present day, are trauma bonds. Most relationships, personal, professional, romantic, etc., are from a place of needing some sort of external validation from whatever fear or limiting belief that we picked up along the way. So a recent change that you might have been resisting, whether you know it or not, is true, healthy, spiritually aligned companionship, because you may not have been aware of how you are operating in codependent ways from a sense of fear or limiting belief about love or what you're worthy of. And I feel like because you've been drawn to this reading, you are now in a place where you're ready to be self-aware. You're ready to operate in the world from listening to your instinct and your intuition and only doing what is right for you and in your best and highest interest. And because you have started this self-awareness and self-healing journey, you are now grieving the loss of that identity as well as all the relationships that corresponded to that identity. Because with a new identity comes a new frequency. With a new frequency comes a new way of attracting people in your life that resonate with your new thoughts, your new feelings, and your new actions. So previous to now, a change you may have been resisting is being in healthy relationships because there was some fear or limiting belief running the way you operated in relationships previous to now. Let's tap into this question deeper using the tarot. What changes might you have been resisting lately? We have the Eight of Cups. And interestingly enough, the affirmation on the bottom of this card says, I accept my situation without resistance. I accept my situation without resistance. So the Eight of Cups is literally about being willing and ready to walk away from things that you have built up over time that no longer serve you. Sometimes those are situations that don't necessarily appear to be failing, like where you may love someone, but you're just not in love with them. Or you may consider that person a friend, but you no longer feel aligned to hang out with them. Or maybe your workplace just feels smaller and constraining and no longer fits, where everything you created, this is kind of almost like midlife crisis energy, where you're starting to feel unfulfilled and dissatisfied by what you've built up and created and all the energy you've put towards certain things over time. And you're like, you know what, this just doesn't fit anymore. This just doesn't work anymore. And oftentimes, we tend to stay in those situations that we've outgrown for far longer than we need to, just for the simple fear of change and the fear of the unknown. And we'd rather stay somewhere we're uncomfortable because it's what we know than venture off into the unknown, even if it might be more fulfilling in the long run. So again, this may be a change that you have been resisting up until this point, is walking away from people, places, or things that are just no longer serving you. Let me get another card to answer this question. What changes might you have been resisting recently? We have the World. The affirmation on this card says, I celebrate life and welcome new energy. The World is about graduating to a new level of life, the next step, ending one chapter and beginning another. So again, there's this similar theme of being ready to graduate to a new version of yourself. And along with that, new experiences, new people, places, and things. However, there could have been a resistance to that growth, because with that growth also comes the demolishing of certain relationships or work or circumstances that are no longer in alignment. And that can be a difficult transition to manage. So it's something, this welcoming this new energy could have been difficult, especially if you're still in the grieving process. All right, beautiful soul. Now let's take a look at the question, what is emerging in your life at this time that you should pay attention to? So we have the card, Humility, and it says, allow me, divine, to always accept the right assistance. I welcome your help in every way and delight in receiving it. So what is emerging at this time is being open to divine guidance, to your intuition, to your higher self, to the movement and flow of the universe that sometimes course corrects you so that you can evolve and grow and prosper the way your soul wants you to, not your ego. Your ego is definitely very supportive and helpful on your earth journey, but it can also use fear to keep you small because it thinks that it's keeping you safe. So we have to use the ego and our intuition in harmony with one another, and not just think that what we think, what we feel, that's the end all be all, but be open to spiritual guidance and direction that sometimes feels uncomfortable, but it's in our best and highest interest if we listen to that little voice of our soul that's trying to guide us in a way that would be more uplifting and fulfilling. So that's something that's emerging in your life, is being more still, more centered, more open and receptive to the spiritual guidance that emerges from within, just like that initial card said, intuition. So that way, you know, if you can listen to your intuition, then that means you'll always be safe. And doesn't mean that life isn't challenging, but that it doesn't have to be unnecessarily painful, because you know what people, places, or things to avoid if you follow that little voice within you that's guiding you to relationships and circumstances that will be authentic and fulfilling, instead of just satisfying that immediate gratification of what the ego thinks it wants in that moment. So let's get some more tarot cards to answer this question as well. What changes are emerging in your life at this time that you should be aware of? Yes, the Tower. So the Tower represents these chaotic shifts and changes, unexpected endings and loss where you feel completely out of control. And that's where this humility card is coming into play, because it takes humility to surrender to the changes in our life that we feel out of control and we feel completely blindsided and uncomfortable. And true acceptance is being able to sit in that discomfort with a sense of peace, like the eye of the storm, knowing that what's falling away, what's deconstructing at that time, is no longer serving you. And if you are self-aware to the fact that there is a higher order at play, where your higher self, the divine, your soul, wants to push and change and evolve you to live more authentically, to live more in communication and harmony with your spirit just as much as your conscious mind and your ego. So that's what's emerging in your life at this time, is being humble enough to accept that the changes are out of your control. What you do have control of at this moment is leaning into peace, stillness, acceptance, and surrender. Even allowing the grief process to unfold without pressuring yourself of needing to let it go, or needing to be over it, or needing to be better or fixed. Just leaning into the divine discomfort of this moment is something that you should be accepting at this time. Let's get another card. What is emerging in your life that you should pay attention to? We have the Ace of Wands. So this is a beautiful card of reinvigorated passion, clarity, inspiration, excitement about what's next and what's possible in your life. So like I said, as one thing crumbles, something new is being reborn. And actually, I love the symbolism on this Tower card, because you can see this building being destroyed and people falling into the rubble below. But there are beautiful seeds that are being protected as they gestate from the light. The Ace of Wands, the new beginning, the inspiration, the new seed of what your passion is calling and leading you towards. So again, something that's emerging, something to lean into, is accepting the divine discomfort as shifts and changes occur, knowing that what's being reborn, what's emerging, is so much more exciting, passionate, and fulfilling. All right, beautiful soul, let's use the Divine Abundance Oracle to answer the next question, which is, how can you harness your inner strength to navigate these challenges at this time? How can you harness your inner strength to navigate challenges? Faith. What a perfect card. It says, miraculously, amazingly, everything I need always comes. Love is opening me to receive beyond anything I can imagine. Everything I need always comes. Love is opening me to receive beyond anything I can imagine. So how can you harness your inner strength is by continuing to develop your faith. Faith in something higher, faith in something bigger, faith in something loving and supportive of you and your needs. You are not alone. And there is a higher power. I mean, it's obvious to see that we are not in control of the sun, the moon, the stars, the evolution of the plants and animals, even our own heartbeat and the digestion of our food. It all just works in some mysterious, miraculous, divine order. So lean into the comfort that that higher aspect, which you are infinitely, intimately a part of, is serving your needs and is opening you up to a greater love than you can even possibly imagine, which goes back to that companionship. When you allow yourself to grieve the loss of a sense of identity that would previously force you to be in situations and relationships that are from a low vibrational, codependent, toxic state, when you allow yourself to grieve that self and those experiences, you have the humility and the awareness of opening yourself up to something higher, more loving, more supportive, which is going to direct you and course correct you through sometimes very challenging experiences to get you where you need to go. So continue to develop that relationship with your higher self and your higher power so that you can have the faith to know that even if it's dark, even if it's challenging, everything's still working out. And in fact, you're being delivered to a destination that is more divine than you could have ever anticipated or controlled the outcome of. So let's use the tarot to answer this question again. How can you harness your inner strength at this time to navigate certain challenges? We have the Ten of Swords. The affirmation on this card says, I see the truth in this ending. I see the truth in this ending. So although endings are painful, although walking away from people, places, and things that no longer serve you is challenging, if you can see how they no longer serve, if you can see that you won't be happy or fulfilled going back to those things, then you can at least accept that moving forward is difficult, but it's necessary. So that's how you can gain the strength to continue to grieve and move forward in a healthy way, is by seeing the truth and why the ending is necessary in the first place. Let's get another card. How can you harness your inner strength at this time to navigate certain challenges? We have the Knight of Swords, and the affirmation on this card says, I choose my battles carefully. So how to harness your inner strength is to know that when you make a decision, that's it. Follow your heart, trust your intuition, trust your discernment, and move forward with intention. If, for instance, there are certain relationships, whether that's a personal friendship, a family member, or a romantic partner, that you no longer feel aligned with and you're ready to move on from, but they want to pull you back, you don't need to get enmeshed in their coercion. Whatever boundaries you set for yourself that you feel are right, then it's time to abide by those boundaries. And don't allow anyone to guilt trip you into being roped back into a codependent dynamic if you just know that it's no longer fulfilling, satisfying, or working out for you. So whatever your decisions are, if they are right for you, they're final. Your no is a complete sentence, and you don't need to go to battle with anybody regarding your decisions. If they're right for you, they're right for you, and no one else has to understand them. So it's up to you to make your decisions with discernment and intentionality, but also not allow yourself to get roped back into anybody's codependent or low vibrational dynamic or way of operating in relationship if you know you're ready to move on from that. All right, beautiful soul, let's use the Divine Abundance Oracle again to answer the question, what opportunities should you be looking for at this time? What opportunities should you be looking for at this time? We have courage. Amazing. Let me be open to courageously take the steps that are shown. Absolutely. Definitely in alignment with that Knight of Swords energy, being swift and decisive. Once you know what's right for you, you're going to have the courage to continue to move forward in that direction and not allow anyone to pull you backwards. So let's take a deeper look at this question. What opportunities should you be looking for at this time? Beautiful. We have the Three of Wands, and the affirmation on this card says, I have the energy I need to realize my goals. So that's what you should be focused on at this time, are your long-term goals. What's your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan? Where do you see yourself? What do you want for yourself that maybe you put on hold or put on the back burner to satisfy other needs in your life, particularly relationships? So having the courage to move towards your goals and your next great intention for your life. The Three of Wands is also about travel. So if you have a desire to move cities, or even make a big move to another country, this is about knowing that the time for movement is right in your life. So if you have a particular intention, desire, or goal, especially related to travel or big dreams, this is the time to focus on them and have the courage to move in that direction. And also know that if you continue to develop your faith and your confidence that this next direction is right for yourself and that you expect it, then the divine is going to provide opportunities for you to take right action through synchronicity. So you don't have to know what the next steps are, but you do have to have the courage and faith that it's time for you to move towards your next big goal. And as you have that faith, that intention, then the divine will reveal your next steps for you. And then it's up to you to continue to have the courage and your passion to motivate you and pull you towards that manifestation. So definitely time to focus on what's manifesting for you versus what's leaving your life. Let's take another look at this question. What opportunities should you be looking for at this time? Beautiful. Amazing. We have the Two of Wands. It says, I focus on what I want and make it happen. So this is just a confirmation card of the previous energy that you should be focused on leaving your comfort zone and letting your sense of passion, adventure, and inspiration, your next big why, to call you forward. That is going to give you the courage. If you lean into what's possible, if you lean into what's next, that big dream that feels like it's possible but yet unfulfilled and you need to make it happen in your life, that's what you need to focus on, and you will have the energy to realize it if you have the courage and the faith to continue to move you and pull you forward. All right, beautiful soul, let's use the Oracle deck to take a deeper look at what is manifesting in your life at this time. What is manifesting in your life at this time? Deepening. It says, once you are on earth for enough lifetimes, your old soul will begin to long for non-grasping, detachment, and surrender. They bring the peace of God. Yes, so this reminds me of what I was saying earlier about how there's an opportunity now to open up more to your soul's desire versus just your ego's desire, because your ego will use fear to keep you small because it thinks it's keeping you safe. But as this says, once you're on earth for enough lifetimes, or once you self-develop enough to a place where you know that there's something more, that if you could just tap into it, you will have more power, you will have more peace, you will have more sense of purpose and fulfillment. That's what's occurring for you at this time. That is what's allowing you to open and receive divine inspiration and guidance. That's what's giving you the humility to grieve and accept certain losses, certain people, places, or things that can't go with you, who are unwilling or they're on a different version of their growth journey at this time. So what's manifesting for you is a deeper, intimate relationship with your soul and the next evolution of your journey because of that. So more authentic and fulfilling relationships and experiences. Let's get another card from the tarot to answer this question. What's manifesting for you at this time? We have the Four of Swords. Absolutely. The card says, I take the time I need to rediscover my vitality. So this reminds me again of the grief process and giving yourself the time that you need to fully release this energy. The Four of Swords is about rest, healing, and introspection after a period of heartbreak, sadness, and loss. So that's natural. That's what's manifesting for you at this time. The introspection needed to find truth, to rediscover your vitality, your passion, your why, what's next, what's pulling you forward. So give yourself the time that you need to heal and process and move forward with grace and ease. Don't let anyone pressure you into when you should let something go or when you should accept. Acceptance and surrender is so difficult because it's like a death process to the ego. The ego wants to coerce and control and hold on to everything. So it's really, it's your own journey and your process of when you're ready to completely surrender. But it is such a beautiful feeling once you fall into it. So let's take a deeper look at this question. What's manifesting for you at this time? Beautiful energy. We have the Emperor. This card says, I make empowered choices. And how can you make empowered choices if you don't listen to your intuition, follow the voice of your soul, or live from an authentic, heart-aligned place? So what's manifesting for you is more power, in your life. This is also divine masculine energy, which we all have. So that divine masculine gives you the ability to make empowered choices, to align your actions to the will of your soul. So that way you can set an intention and have a desire, but also have the confidence and the willpower and the fortitude to push forward and to put plans and structures into place to make that dream happen instead of just leaving it a dream. All right, so that's beautiful. You are manifesting healing, rest. You are also manifesting a deeper relationship with your intuition, with your soul, with your divine self, which is giving you more divine masculine power in your life. The ability to make choices that serve your highest good, the ability to dream, but also conquer those dreams as well and make them a reality. So that leads us to the next question, which is, what action can you take at this time to move forward with ease and with grace? Ooh. Surrender. Sometimes learning to surrender can feel as if you're dying. Wow. The ego learns what's hardest: to stop trying to control the whole universe. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So learning to surrender at this time, just like I said, grieving is a process that only you know the timing of, but when you're ready to surrender, it can feel like you're dying, and you have to lean into that death process, knowing that the ego is trying to keep you safe, but it also keeps you small in the process. So learning how to surrender and accept at this time is going to give you the motivation, the willpower to move forward. So the more you can grieve, and then therefore the more you can surrender what you are leaving behind, the more readily you'll be available to the energy that's pulling you forward. So let's take a deeper look at that. What actions can you take to move forward at this time? We have the Two of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. So the Two of Swords is about not knowing which direction to go, but needing to listen to your intuition to pull you forward. Like I said, once you have an intention, you have faith, then you allow the divine to pull you forward through synchronicities and coincidences where you don't have to have the whole picture laid out for you. You don't have to have the whole plan put into place, but you do have to have the willpower and the fortitude to move you forward. And that energy and that trust, that confidence, that inspiration that pulls you forward is going to light up the path one step at a time. So what actions you can take is, number one, not needing to see the full picture of that next big goal, but just needing to take the next step that's in front of you. What inspiration do you have now that can move you one step forward towards that next goal? Okay. And we also have the Four of Pentacles as far as what actions you can take. Let me get a clarifying card, because this is about holding on to people, places, and things, and there's a lot that you're surrendering at this time. So let me clarify. What is the Four of Pentacles as far as an action? We have the King of Swords. I trust my ability to make a strategic decision. Let me get another card. This could be related to your finances, career, and stability. Let me clarify. What actions can you take? What decisions can you make at this time? We have the Seven of Cups and the Lovers. I feel like these cards are further confirming the action that we've been talking about this entire reading, which is about allowing companionships that are no longer serving you, that are no longer right or fulfilling, to fall away, But the actions that you can take at this time are being very clear and intentional on what you value in relationships, whether that's friends, family, or lovers. Because the Four of Pentacles, I'm almost getting the sense this is about knowing what to keep and what to throw away as far as your relationships go, the Lovers card. Because the Lovers is not just about soulmate energy, but it's about what you decide to commit to. And you should only decide to commit to things that are aligned with your values. So the King of Swords, again, is I trust my ability to make a strategic decision. And the Seven of Cups is about looking at all the options and being able to discern through those options what is actually valuable for you. Discerning between what looks pretty or shiny or what may seem right on paper, discerning that from what is actually emotionally rewarding and fulfilling for you, and being willing to say no to anything less than what you value. So actions to continue to take at this time are to surrender to this process that's unfolding in your life, knowing that you might not know exactly which step to take, but your intuition, your heart, your soul is calling you forward. So trust your own discernment about what serves you, what is in your best and highest interest. That way you'll know what to keep and what to get rid of as far as relationships, people, or any situation that is just no longer in your highest and best good. All right, beautiful soul. Now let's answer the question, how can you better align with your soul's path, your true path at this time? How can you better align with your true soul's path? Acceptance. This card says radical acceptance in the now opens the flow. Radical acceptance in the now opens the flow. Let's get some tarot to clarify. Ooh, we have the Death card and the Nine of Pentacles. Amazing. So the Death card says, I let go and embrace new beginnings. And that's what this card is about. It's about surrendering to the rebirth process. So definitely in alignment with the acceptance card. Radical acceptance to the death process that's occurring in your life. The ego dying away and leaving room for your soul, for your intuition to guide you towards the choices that are in your highest and best interest. And we have the Nine of Pentacles. This card is about working hard towards that big dream that I was telling you about earlier. Shifting away from holding on to people, places, and things that are less than what you deserve out of fear or limiting belief, and starting to believe in what you previously felt was impractical or even impossible. The impossible is now becoming possible because you are now in more alignment with your divine self. Therefore, you're shedding away anything that was less than what you are open and available to now. Radical acceptance opens me to the flow. So as you accept the death, as you allow yourself to grieve, as you practice the art of surrender, now you have more energy available for you to move towards that next big dream and goal that you deserve, that's ready for you. Your future self is already there and waiting for you to line up with that version of yourself. All right, beautiful soul. Lastly, let's get some advice from the angels and from your higher self about moving forward at this time. We have the Five of Wands. This card says, I stand my ground and look for peace. This reminds me again of making sure you are honoring your boundaries. If you don't have any, it's a time to develop them so that you don't have to embroil yourself in any unnecessary conflict. Once you say no, that's it. You don't have to worry about validating anyone else's feelings. Yes, it's good to give in equal measure, but you have to honor your own needs and be true to yourself as well. So if anyone wants to question you for your decisions, just know that you don't have to respond. You don't have to fight for your needs. You just have to know and trust your own discernment and stand your ground and trust your decision. Let's get another card. Advice from your higher self. We have the Queen of Wands. This is what's expanding and opening for you at this time. As you continue to stand your ground, honor your heart, trust your needs, have solid boundaries, then you are creating more energy. Remember what I said, through that death process, you are then making more room for more clarity and more inspiration and more creative energy to flow from you towards your big next goal. So the Queen of Wands is saying that all of this, beautiful soul, is leading to a more empowered you, a more confident, magnetic, beautiful and radiant version of yourself that already exists, that doesn't need to be created, but that needs to be allowed. Okay? All right, let's get one final message from the angels, advice on how to move forward at this time. Beautiful. We got 3 cards that wanted to come through for you. We have divine intervention. It says you may feel frustrated because something stalls or comes to a standstill. Progress seems painfully slow, yet this is a blessing. It is divine intervention at work. When the timing is in perfect harmony, all will come to fruition. So again, this is that death process, that grieving process that is at your own pace and can't be rushed. Allowing this slowness, allowing this stillness, this hibernation, this 4 of Swords, rest, healing, and introspection period to take place, knowing that that is a divine healing and gestation that is completely necessary for you to emerge as this Queen of Wands. So again, accepting and leaning into the Tower moments, knowing that divine intervention is occurring, that course corrects us, sometimes through painful and challenging experiences, so that we can grow, thrive, and prosper on the other side. So knowing that this painful process is divine intervention at work is some angelic advice for you at this time. We also have truth and trust. Very beautiful energy. Final advice from your angels. Truth says the best way through the current situation is to just speak your truth. Contrary to what you may think, no one will be hurt if you express exactly how you feel. So this reminds me of what I was saying about knowing what your boundaries are and being courageous enough to implement them, not allowing any conflict to rope you back into codependent relationships. So you have to know what your boundaries are in order to enforce them. So this is about being willing to know what your truth is and always speak it. Therefore, anyone who doesn't resonate with your truth isn't an authentically aligned relationship for you. So if you have the confidence and the clarity to communicate your values, then naturally you will be aligned to more authentic circumstances. And the trust card says, all will work out well. We, your angels, are here to nurture, protect, and heal you. Trust in the healing power of our love. We love you more than you will ever know. That is the perfect last message for this reading. Everything is going to work out better than you expect. Your angels are with you, going through this process with you, and you can always call on them for added support because they'll only go as far as your free will allow them to. So if you want that additional nurturance and support, knowing that you are divinely guided, continue to call on the support of your angels and your higher self, and they will guide you along this process. Know that you are so much more loved than you could possibly even fathom. You are so divinely supported in every way. All right, my beautiful soul, I do hope you resonated with this reading, that it gave you a sense of peace and clarity about some changes you might be navigating at this time. If you resonate, I want you to comment one of 3 emojis down below. You can comment the angel wing emoji, the healing heart emoji, or the yoga pose emoji. Make sure you like this video, and if you're new here, subscribe, because we release new readings every week you don't want to miss. And in the event you would like a deeper personal reading for yourself, there's a link available in the description box below to book that at any time. And beautiful soul, until the next time I get to read for you, I'm sending you so much peace and love.